Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. We have another debut here on the Predictive Playbook, and it's California Wager is joining me. Nice enough to take his time on a Friday. We're getting close to noon on the East Coast here, Eastern Standard Time. He's a veteran, professional bettor, and I know you're going to love the information he provides to you. Very successful. Of course, we have our ups and downs, but over time, he's been very successful. So welcome to the show, California Wager.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Hello to everybody. I hope everybody's had a good week and ready for a fun weekend ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We got the Belmont Stakes, we got the PGA Tour Memorial going on. There's going to be a lot of exciting action. And I guess we're going to talk about the World Series as well, the College World Series, that is. But first, let's take a look at the NBA playoffs, if you don't mind, with tonight's game. Dallas is hosting the Clippers, and just a little background, this is the first time since the 94-95 season that we've had a playoff series where the road team has won the first five games. And back then it was Houston against San Antonio. That was the Robert Horry, Elijah Wan, and a bunch of other pretty good guys. I think Sam Cassell was on that team too. I could be mistaken, but
yep, that sounds right.
Houston won Game 6 at home, and by 5 points. And each quarter they were not separated by more than a point at the end of each quarter. Until the fourth quarter, Houston outscored them by 4 points. Needless to say, they were winning by 1 going into the fourth. So I think tonight that might be a good indicator of what's going to happen with this game. A lot of close to the vest type of play, a lot of defense, hopefully, and should be a very exciting game. You have any take on this matchup?
I mean, you look at the opening line and three and a half, depending on where you are, and it's just crazy. To me, it's crazy to see the Clippers again favored, especially on the road. Dallas just keeps being the thorn in that side. Luka. He's unbelievable. The Clippers, obviously, we know what they have accomplished. We know what they can accomplish, but I have not been impressed with them in this series. I've definitely liked what Dallas has done, and it reflects in the 3-2 lead in the series. And hard to go against the home team getting the points in a game clinching in a series clinching game right here.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's the best player on the planet right now for Dallas, obviously, and until they learn how to stop him in a consistent way, which I don't know if he can. I think the market's a little cheap here on Dallas. So I wouldn't be surprised either if history repeats and Dallas goes on to the next series, which would be against the Phoenix Suns. I think that's right, the Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
And that's one hell of a matchup. On the Eastern Conference side, we have the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Sixers. Embiid probably will be good to go in Game 1, from what I hear. But do you have any thoughts on that series? I know the Sixers are minus 200.
So we do have a future. My clients have a future on the 76ers to win the whole thing. So we took them preseason. Obviously that Embiid injury scared the living heck out of me, and everybody in general. I mean, my partner is a Philly guy as well, so he has his own personal ties to it. So obviously a couple ways we're vested in it, but I think if Embiid is healthy, I think that the 76ers match up fairly well with them. I think yes, Trae Young is obviously a force, but I think that the 76ers have a better defensive scheme, and they will be able to shut him down or say, hey, you know what, get yours, we're going to take care of everybody else. It's going to be interesting to see what they do about it, but I do think that Philly, fully healthy, will be able to handle the Hawks on a better level.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it on Manny's Pub Show, which airs Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock, as you know. And Simmons was getting absolutely hammered in the Philadelphia media, as your business partner can attest to.
Yes.
And it is a contrarian indicator. I've done a lot of work with sentiment using Twitter and the tweets. And whenever it gets that negative, it's actually a positive for the team. And one trend I just love with Simmons, whether he makes a free throw or not, if he is coming off a game with 10 or more assists, and he's coming off a game with a triple-double, the Sixers are 27-4 against the number. And off a triple-double, of which he's had 33 now, I think, ranking 10th or 11th in NBA history. But the guy sucks, right?
Yeah,
that's what Philly says. The guy
I love
sucks.
Philly. Yeah, it's like New York. Hey,
But I think Philly rolls. I like your pick with the Sixers winning the whole thing. I have the Sixers and the Clippers in the final, which, that's... Well, we'll find out tonight, right? But I almost want Dallas to win,
Yeah, exactly.
It was such a good team. Oh, by the way, Houston that year, 1994-95 season, went on to win the championship. It's hard to imagine Dallas doing that, but with Luka leading the way, I mean, anything's possible, and you're probably going to get tremendous value just to put pizza money on it.
Yeah.
Just as an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, as a Warriors fan, would you have thought, 20 years ago that a team would have been able to win a championship with the way they did? I mean, probably not. And you see how the game is developed, and even years ago with LeBron, kind of the one-man show with being on the Cavaliers there. If Luka's hot and he gets a little bit of help from the guys around him, who's to say he can't do it? I mean, obviously, I'd love if the Sixers did it since my Warriors aren't in it, and a lot of credit to the Warriors for what they did do this year. That was sure fun. It was heartbreaking to watch how they went down in both those playoff games, especially after watching how the Lakers went down. I think the Warriors really would have given the Suns a nice battle.
I agree.
But hey, so be it. You know what? Injuries happen. That's the name of the game. I mean, football being the key one, but basketball is really just a survival, and people want to talk badly about these guys resting, but do you really care about how they do in the middle of the season, or are you worried about them in June when it really counts? So it happens. It's part of the game.
It was interesting / funny when Barkley called AD Anthony Street Clothes Davis, which wow. But 82 games is a grind, even though they did 72 this year.
It's still, yeah. I mean, and you forget how big those guys are. Yes, they're great athletes, but you know how much that takes. I mean, I'm 6'3" and my body's beat up. I can't imagine being 5 inches more at the minimum, basically, and getting beat up all day, running up and down the court. So, it is what it is. Sometimes it's part of the game. That's the risk you're taking, and there's a reason why these guys sign guaranteed contracts.
That's right. Unlike the PGA Tour, that's a totally different topic for another show.
That would be, we do a lot of golf. I'm a pretty avid golfer, as most baseball guys are. I was a pitcher, so you dive right into the golfing world. So yeah, we can get into golf sometime. This is another fun weekend, and maybe a major we can chat a little bit more about.
Absolutely.
Something. We like to dive in on some golf stuff. We were close last weekend. We have one of my smaller books. We have a big 4 option. So we took that, and Spieth was one of them. And, I should have hedged myself at the final day, but we had a top 5 as well with him, so that hit. But hard to watch him lead for 3 days and then not be able to finish it off. But cheers still. Cheers to your winner. You got to give him a lot of credit for what he did sticking around that whole time.
Yeah, I don't know how to say this, but at least I tweeted this, and it was on the shows that I had the guy who beat Spieth. I'm not trying to one-up you by any stretch of imagination, but I was as surprised as you that Spieth did not win that. I thought for sure I was going to come in second, and so be it, I lose, but I also had top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
But this week we're at the Memorial, and they got some severe weather yesterday. The guys that were on the course really got punished. I have Kazire as one of the guys, long shots to win, and he's +3, and not even on the back 9 yet.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that goes. But Morikawa, he's leading at -6, and he's done.
Yeah, which is big.
Yeah, it's huge.
Because that was a big thing. We didn't touch anything pre first round this week because honestly, I saw what you're talking about right now, and weather is just so unpredictable, especially where they are right now, that I'm going to give out weekend stuff, but I needed to see how they played, who was ready to play in this weather, and honestly how bad it was. So you're getting a taste of it. We'll find out today too. It's like, you know it as well as anybody. Sometimes the best play is no play.
Exactly right. I love it.
Yeah.
Positively. So let's move over to the NCAA World Series here, and I'm looking at some of the odds. And of course, we have some games, much like the NCAA tournament, that are going to be kind of won before they're fought. But you do play them, and the odds are pretty steep. For example, the first game going at noon in about 15 minutes is Army and Texas Tech. The run line's plus 6.5, minus 120.
Yep.
And there's 750 to win. But it seems like the over/under is being bet pretty heavy to the over in that game. So I don't know. You would think that Texas Tech could score 13 on their own merit, but I don't know anything about Army's team, so it's not fair for me to say. But you've looked at this very carefully and taken a couple deep dives in this event. So which teams do you think stand out as contenders, and then which ones would be kind of long shots in your opinion?
Well, it's interesting this year, and like you said, it is going to be just like the NCAA basketball tournament, where you're going to get massive long shots, where you're going to get these just ridiculous spreads. Like you said, Texas Tech minus 6.5 this morning. Obviously, that's
a football game.
But the joy of it is that more books are putting out almost every single game for the first round, which starts at 9 o'clock this morning, carries through the entire day. So it'll end up being a big day of sports across the entire board. You'll get it from, like I said, 9 a.m. all the way until 10 p.m. on the East Coast with two of the games. We look at value. We look at teams that I think can offer really the best chance for you to cash. And for myself, I can give you my strongest play, and big shocker. I really, really do think that the overall 1 seed Arkansas will win the whole thing. Arkansas has just absolutely been impressive. 93 home runs this season. They are legitimately the best team in college baseball over the past few months. They also, as long as they keep winning, they, as well as the other 7 top seeds, 16 regionals in all, the top 8 of them, as long as they keep winning, will continue to host through the next round, which is the Super Regionals, then Omaha. Arkansas has one of, if not the best home environments. It's going to be just impossible to win there. 46-10 this season. They're obviously the number 1 overall. They won the SEC regular season. They won the SEC tournament championship. And they're looking to go back to Omaha for the 3rd time in a row. And just top to bottom, from pitching to, get this. You look at a guy on their team, Kevin Cobbs, 10-0 this season, 10 saves, doesn't have a start. So you just look at that, for example. You know that they're loaded. The offense is ridiculous, and they're going to be playing in just an environment that suits them very well. You just quickly browse their bracket, too. They get Northeastern, Nebraska, and New Jersey International of Technology for the first round. So they get what they deserve as the 1 seed. They should cruise. My biggest long shot in terms of what I could see happening would be LSU. Palminieri's final season as head coach.
See that.
Pardon?
I can definitely see LSU.
Yeah, Palminieri's final season as head coach. LSU, 34-22, not the sexiest record and all, but you look at what conference they play in, and when it comes to tournament time, this is a team that can absolutely roll. I think that they have truly a good opportunity to get on a nice look here. They play in the Oregon Regional. They'll be in Eugene, and they go against Gonzaga, Oregon, obviously, and then Central Connecticut. So, hey, we'll see what happens here. But I think LSU, if they get off to a nice start, and they're not playing in a real hostile environment, so they did get lucky kind of getting away from everything. I think getting out of SEC country, Big 12 country is big for them. We do know the Pac-12 is a little bit softer. The West Coast is a little bit softer. There's only 2 regionals in the West Coast, west of Texas. So you look at that, and I may be attending one of them at Stanford later today, but the other one being in Oregon. I guess actually Arizona will be hosting too, but I think they're in a really good environment to be able to get it. So I took them as well. I got them at 45-1 to win the whole thing. So I like it with those odds. Hey, if they even make it to the World Series, start hedging them out a little bit and see what you can do. So So that's the biggest and kind of the most minimal. Arkansas, I got at 6.5 or 6-1. I got it personally at 6.5 to 1. My clients got it at 6 to 1. So I still like the value there because I would expect them would really be shocked if they weren't into the World Series.
Yeah, the only thing that could stop them is a hot starting pitcher by one of the opponents. But I mean, if they're hitting almost 2 home runs a game, it's only a matter of time until somebody gets hammered. I mean, 6 to 1 sounds cheap to me.
I completely agree. And college baseball is one of those markets that it's very untapped. Not a lot of people want to touch it. Kind of like what KBO is to us. We hammer KBO and we're very successful in it, but a lot of people don't see it, aren't exposed to it, so don't want to touch it. And I understand that, but in the same sense, I know how much you work in stocks. I know how much you are invested in crypto and other things related towards it. And I mean, it's a different type of investment. You don't need to sit there and watch all of your investments to earn. You know, it is
that's right.
Something that, you know, you do need to trust who you're putting your money in and what stock and whatever investment it is. But at the same time, you don't need to be hands-on with everything necessarily to make money in it. And college baseball is one of the things that I've sat back, I've watched the games, and even though it's not a big market in terms of lines, it doesn't mean that when they come out, I'm not going to hammer them because there is great value.
Yep. Yeah, I love it.
We look, though, it is an interesting year with college baseball because this year, unlike any other, you've never thought of, you know, the first 4 out actually having a chance to be in. Obviously, nothing's come up yet, but say by tonight, the series CV19 comes out, and you know a team that hasn't been protocol correctly goes. Baylor would be the first team in. Unfortunately, the second team in would be Pitt, and Pitt I think is they got the biggest screw job in baseball this season. Pitt was absolutely dominant throughout the entire season. But the committee, I think, kind of got lazy a little bit with what, you know, no offense, but I think they got a little bit lazy. They just took the top 40 RPI teams. Alabama did not deserve to get in any way, shape, or form. They skip Pitt, but then they bring in number 51 RPI UCSB, who is still formidable, and they're a great team out of the Big West. But Pitt deserved to be in. And if you're going to let all of these other squads in, I think that Pitt should have been not an auto berth because they weren't deserving of that, but they should have been the next tier down. So it was unfortunate that they made it, and I feel for them.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. That's kind of the easy way out. Take the top 40 RPI and not evaluate the other ones that are the infamous bubble teams like in the NCAA tournament.
And you watch the tournament selection show, and even the committee chairman, he kind of stumbled over his own words because he's talking about how certain teams didn't get in because of how they finished the year. And then you look at Alabama, who lost like 9 of 12 to end the year, and how do you let them in besides the name of Alabama and being in the SEC? It's kind of like, and it feels like football kind of all over again. You look at the 16 hosting conferences, and it's 7 SEC teams, and a lot of them are deserved. 3 Big 12, 3 Pac-12, a Conference USA, an ACC, and then an AAC. So, it's kind of look who's at the top again. At least with college baseball, it is different. You look at the team names, and if you're, exclusively a college basketball or football fan, you're probably going to be like, who in the heck is NJIT? Who in the heck is Dallas Baptist? There's a lot of these teams that people are just probably, like McNeese State. I guess basketball, you'd be on it, but it is kind of funny to see the difference in squads. But it is cool to see some of these new faces that get a chance with D1.
Yeah, Texas is always loaded with some schools you never heard of. You being a baseball guy, and my oldest son played college baseball not too long ago, but Tyler, Texas was a Division III juggernaut. I think the one season they beat 5 SEC schools. So the gap between Division III and Division I baseball is a lot narrower than football. Like you're not going to see a Lehigh beat Alabama in football ever.
No. But baseball, that's the great great equalizer is starting pitching, and you've got one guy that can shut down the best team in the country or whatever. You can win 1-0. If you don't give up any runs, you can't lose. So it is interesting to see. And yeah, like you said, it's kind of like, like West Texas football or like high school football. Some of these places, they could go out and beat, Connecticut in Division I football. They'd go beat some of these squads. And I think overall, NAIA, for what it's worth, is better than D3, or actually D2. I think D3 is strong. NAIA is very strong. You look at, some of the like Oklahoma cities, Oklahoma Baptist, Lewis and Clark, for example, and some of these squads that, these kids choose to go there instead because they want to transfer and get drafted in a year or two, going to JC instead of going to these big schools, which is just crazy to think about, but you'd never see that on a football level, ever. No. But with baseball, if you're good, you're going to get seen, and it reflects it clearly with the high school drafting, and generally the number one draft pick is, it's what, like 70% of the time it's a high school kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
and plus you get the playing time.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't look over your shoulder of the freshman class coming in and taking your job. You're there for 1 or 2 years, like you said, and off you go.
Yeah, which is really an interesting, and it reflects recruiting and coaching too, because you look at a team like a Coastal Carolina, veteran leadership can almost outdo talent sometimes with college baseball, because a lot of the time your best players are going to be gone, junior year, going into senior year, understandably, as they should if they're good enough to get drafted. But baseball, I feel like, unlike any other sport, isn't all about physically. You're not banging into people. The mental game is as much as anything in baseball. So, it really can do so much to you when you're confident, when you're playing well, when you're in the right headspace. It can, and when you've got a good leadership with coaching, it's huge. There's a reason why you've heard the few coaches repeat it over and over and over again, because they're that good.
Yep, no doubt. Well said. You want to transition over to NHL as the final part of our show and see what's going on there? I know we have the Canadiens, who stunned Toronto, coming back from down 3-1 to winning Game 7. They took care of the Jets in Game 1. They lead the series 1-0, obviously. Game 2 is tonight at 7:30. It's on USA. And I'm seeing Winnipeg favored -115 with an over-under of 5.5. And what do you think is going to happen with this matchup tonight?
The funny part is with NHL, my partner is a ex-college hockey player, so we always have some fun discussions. At this point of the season, hard not to want to just lean every under. Even as an avid amateur hockey guy, because I'm not the biggest handicapper for NHL. I love watching it. You see what keeps happening with these games as we get further and further and further in. Defense becomes the priority. Goalkeeping becomes the priority, as if it's not already. And you see how you're starting to give up offensive opportunities to ensure that you're not going to give up that easy one. I think, we watched that Bruins game yesterday, and you got a real good indication of it. Even with that early goal, you saw how it was going to be. It was going to be an absolute bloodbath. Every single shot was going to be contested. And, how many deflections do you have now in every single game? And it's a pure indicator that, there's going to be no clear paths and everything's going to be a deflection, which is great. It also sucks as a goalkeeper because you're, blind to every shot. But yeah, if anything, nothing official, but yeah, hard not to lean and want to get the under 5.5.
Yeah, I like that side of it too. I often wonder whether the people watching on TV realize that goalie sometimes rarely sees the puck coming. He has the ability to react off of body movements. He may not see the puck come off the stick, and then, like you said, then he has deflections to deal with. But I often wonder sometimes where fans blame the goalie for letting one through when it actually had nothing to do with him.
Yeah. We'll need to get my partner in here next time at BetSmart Podcast, and I'm sure he's got some entertaining hockey stories for you. He's obviously been in a few scrums. But yeah, he's got great knowledge, and like he always tells me too. It's kind of like baseball when we cap it. Lineups are important, but just like a pitcher is the biggest thing for us, a goalie is the biggest thing. And sometimes, you're not going to find out who it is, what it is till late, but that really is the key. You got to know who's between the posts.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And before we end here, I wanted you to be able to tell people where else they can find you. I know it's on Twitter. It's at California Wager, as it states on his window there. But where else can they get you?
So you can find me. I also run a podcast with my partner. You can find us at BetSmart Podcast. We also have a lot of information on our website, thebetsmartpodcast.com. And if you're interested in anything we do, we're successful across the board. We're also doing a really nice job this year in NASCAR. We went 3 for 4 as well in the Indy 500. We had Pelot in what we call we had a launch pad play, we call it, where we attack 3 or 4 different ways on something. So we had Pelot 4 different ways. Only thing we lost was the win, unfortunately, on that final lap. But that was fun. And then we went 6-1 in NASCAR last weekend as well. So it's been going very well on that end. We're also really enjoying KBO. For those of you last year that enjoyed Korean baseball, we're having a real good year as well. 120, 70, and 7 right now for our VIP. So that's cruising well. And,
that is.
And then last year we were 109 units up last year for KBO. So it was a pretty phenomenal season, and we're continuing on with that every single night. So yeah, if you're interested in anything related to our packages or just some chit chat, feel free. You can reach out to me on Twitter. CaliforniaWager@gmail.com is another way to reach out to me. And appreciate having me on, and I look forward to another opportunity on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be a regular appearance, and especially you want to hear the stories from your business partner with hockey.
Absolutely.
Because I've never been in a hockey brawl. In fact, I've never been in a brawl.
I would
baseball. I was never in one.
I would want to be on his side. He's a big dude already, but you could see that hockey side come out, and I'm a flight, not a fight guy. So I'll let him.
I'm with you, man.
I'll let him do the walking. I'll do the talking.
Just tell him I'll be behind him the whole way.
Exactly. I'll hold him back.
Yep. It was great having you on the show. I'm looking forward to the next one. And guys, I don't have to tell you to go check this guy out. It shouldn't require me to tell you to go check him out. He's a wealth of information, sports betting information, and these shows are all designed to help make all of us a better. So take advantage of it. Get involved with them. And for this show, June 4th, 2021, that'll about do it. So let's all have a highly profitable night tonight, or actually starting this afternoon with college baseball. But bet with your head, not over it. So for sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, predictiveplaybook.com, may all the wins be yours.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks again.